Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MEDCO University for January 8th, 2013. We are very pleased tonight to be joined by Salesforce from Bonding Solutions, talking tonight about Like90, a very new and innovative line of corrosion protection materials and booth maintenance line items that MEDCO has taken on recently. You'll find some very new and exciting technology coming over from the aerospace industry for the corrosion protection side of the industry, and some next generation products in the booth maintenance department that can really enhance the quality and cleanness of paint jobs coming out of the booth for your shops. We're joined tonight by Jeff Miller and Bill Kernahan. If you have questions, you'll notice if you drag your mouse to the top of your screen, a drop box will come down and have a square labeled chat. You can click on that chat and you'll get a dialog box in which you can type in your questions and address them to either Eric Stern or Jeff Miller, and we'll answer them as we go. If you have questions that come to mind tonight, tomorrow, next week, please don't hesitate to contact your MEDCO sales representative and our customer service, and if we can't answer your question, we will get you in touch with somebody who can. With that, I will turn the presentation over to Jeff and Bill.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Miller. I'm the technical manager for Bonding Solutions / Like90. What we're going to talk about tonight is some of the new products that Like90 has that we've brought to the marketplace, and kind of go through each product and show you the features and benefits of the products. First product we're going to look at is corrosion inhibiting compound. What this is this new thin film technology that's been brought to the automotive aftermarket area, which comes from the aerospace technology. It is being used by ICAR. ICAR has gone through and done their own internal testing. They've requested that their own instructors are using it in their ICAR corrosion classes. When we talk about aerospace technology, this product was developed in the 80s for corrosion protection in the aerospace, Airbus type airplanes marketplace for corrosion protection on aluminum and cold rolled steel. Some of the benefits of this product are the fact that it is a thin film technology, so when you look at it, you're using a lot less product than you are your typical zincs and coppers that are out there. Your zinc and coppers, when you do an application, they're looking at using a double or a triple coat on the part, where this here is just one quick pass over top of the part and let it flash 5 minutes, and you're ready to go ahead and do your welding. Now, some of the unique benefits of this product are the fact that your typical weld-through primers that are out there, with those weld-through primers, you got your zincs and your coppers, and anybody who knows welding, they can identify those. When you go to weld through it, you get a lot of popping and splatter coming back when you go to weld through them. This technology has no metals in it. So with no metals in there, you don't have any sacrificial metal that's you're trying to burn through. You don't have pigments in it. So when you go to weld through it, you get a clean weld all the way through, and you also get no porosity in the weld. So that way, when you're done welding, you don't have, most of the time when you weld, you're going to get a little burn back around the inside of the panel. And your typical weld-through primers, the zinc and coppers are sitting on that bare metal, and you basically have corrosion starting day one. Now with ours, what you have is you get 4 times the coverage with the weld-through product. So no clogged valve. And like I said before, all the other systems out there have a pigment, and half the time, by the time you get 3/4 of the way through the can ends up clogging up the nozzle, and then you can't get anything to come back out of it, and you end up throwing away it. Excels very well on aluminum. As we stated in the aerospace industry, if you think back, I forget what year it was, but there was an Aloha Airlines where the roof had come apart on the airplane, and when they looked at it and investigated it, they found that in their weld joints and their rivets, they had corrosion happening around those metals. And what they did is they had to come up with something different to overcome that corrosion, and this is the technology that they came out with for that. And what we found is this is a good technology that benefits the automotive aftermarket. So it does work on aluminum and steel. With the weld through, as we stated, it's a one coat over top of it, allow it to flash. Once you've let it flash, you go ahead and weld that panel together. And with that system, what we have is we have a dry film then, and as we stated, when you go to weld it, you're going to get a little bit of burn back around the weld. And what this dry film does is when you spray it onto that panel, this has scavengers in it, and you'll spray this on top of the flange, or you can spray it underneath the flange. And what it will do is it'll crawl 4 inches an hour. And what it's doing is it's crawling back up inside that flange area where you burned it away and putting that corrosion protection back around that weld. So by doing that, now you've enhanced the corrosion protection and putting that car back to OEM conditions. As we stated before, long-lasting cans, you get a lot of product because of your thin film technology, so typically you're getting 3 to 4 times more uses out of it. The dry film, like I said, you just apply it to the seam. You can spray. These cans are also bladder filled, so if you need to, you can turn it upside down to get into tight crevices in order to spray it, and it will continue to spray. And on this film here, if you watch, what you do is it's a time-lapse screen here. And what this is going to show you, it's going to show you how it's crawling up between that flange, and it'll crawl 4 inches an hour. As you can see, it's starting to seep up between that glass and goes all the way up to that 4-inch mark. Now, because it's giving you that corrosion protection, you put that dry film on top of the weld-through primer. When you're looking at corrosion protection, you're looking at about 3,000 hours corrosion protection in a salt spray unit, which equilibrates out to 7 to 8 years corrosion protection. Your typical weld-through primers are about 1,000 hours corrosion protection, which is equivalent to about 1 to 2 years. But the reality is that corrosion started day one because you burned it away and you created a hot spot between those panels on there. So you're given, with today, more and more shops are getting into having to give lifetime warranties with their work, and what this is doing is giving them a peace of mind knowing that they're putting that corrosion protection back in there and bringing it back to the OEM conditions, if not better than the OEM conditions. Now, this system you're seeing right here, this is called a wet black film. And what the wet black film is used for is your A pillars, your B pillars, rocker panels, and inside frame rails. It's a lot like a cavity wax, but the reality is the cavity wax does a very good job of coating the surface. But with this wet black, what it does is when you spray it into the area, it not only coats the surface, but it also wicks between the panels. By doing this, what it's doing is just putting corrosion protection back between those panels, And if you think about a rocker panel, that's your highest moisture area. So if you're having to put a new rocker cover on a car, what this is doing is it's sealing off that joint and not allowing moisture to get back into those joints and providing that corrosion protection. Same way with the frame rail. You know, when you're welding in a sleeve joint on a frame rail, this will allow you to stick a wand inside there, and it'll allow you to get a 360-degree spray inside the wand, and that will crawl. Once it's on the surface, it will crawl into every crack and crevice in there and put that corrosion protection back in place. Okay, any questions, Bill? Anything to add to that? Okay, if you're watching this screen here, what it's going to do is it's going to show you using the wet black and going into a frame rail. And if you notice, you'll see the clean 360 spray coming out of the wand. The nice thing about that is with the wand, it gives you that true laser cut on there, so you get a complete spray, complete circle inside the frame rail. Now, the other nice thing about that is the wand that comes with it is a very thin wand. It's only about 1/4 inch in diameter. So you can basically, if you weld it into, put a stud gun on the side of a door panel and you burned away the E-coat behind the panel, you can take off a bolt off the latch of the door and very easily put this into that door and be able to get that 360 spray inside there and put corrosion protection back into the back side of the panel where you burned it away from the E-coat. Now, if you see here, the third system that's in that kit that comes with it is what they call a cleaner. It's a remover, and all you do is you attach the wand to that remover and you spray it, a couple blasts through it, and what it does is it blasts the cleaner through that wand and cleans it out. So that way you can clean out the wand from any excess that's inside there. Now, the unique thing is what you have here is you have a very high technology product put into a convenience packaging. So that way it allows them to deliver the system onto the vehicles in the atmosphere we are working in the body shop. Now, the next slide here, what we're going to talk about is this is a new booth coating that we've come out with. This is a new peelable coating, and the unique thing about it is called whiteout. Now, what whiteout is a lot of times you guys have seen peelable coatings out there, and when the guys get done using it and they get through about 150 to 200 booth cycles, they go in and they try to peel it off the booth. And when they go to peel it off, the coating wants to just break off into little sheets, and it's very hard to get it off. Half the time you have to dig it off there. With this coating here, what's unique about it is it's almost like a saran wrap that you're putting inside the booth. It has a lot of stretch to it. It doesn't break when you try to pull it off. It's got a very high whiteout on it as far as you can coat the booth when you have, say, a dirty booth in there. Basically, the application of it is you don't have to sand down the booth, paint the booth, and then put this coating over it. With this booth, you can basically do a new booth or do a dirty booth in about 2 hours. If you had some high spots inside the booth where you had a lot of dust particles in there, you can go in and just knock it down real lightly with the DA, and you're going to go in and spray it onto the booth. It takes about 2.5 gallons to 3 gallons to do a booth, and peels off easily after 500 cycles. But the unique thing about this is the fact that you can also recoat it. So say you get into the booth, you get about 500 cycles. You can put another coat over top of it, and you can go up to 3 coats on top onto the surface. Gives you a total of 150 boost cycles before you have to peel it. 1,500 boost cycles before you have to peel it off the booth. Even at that point, it will peel off very easily off to the booth. It has high build to it too, so a lot of booths that are out there that are getting older and you get into the seams and that, you can spray this into the corners and it actually bridges that gap in the booth. So when they go to kick on the boost cycles, it actually creates a vacuum in there, so it's not sucking air from outside of the booth either. So it gives a much tighter seal to it. What else am I missing? Anything? Nope. Okay, this here is what we call particle control. Particle control, what it's doing is it's a spray that you put into a bug sprayer, and what you do is you go into a booth and you sweep out the booth real good, and then you load in the particle control and spray it on the floor. And what the particle control does is it puts a slight positive charge to the concrete. And what it does is then it takes, I'm sorry, I got distracted there. It creates a positive charge to the concrete, and what it's doing is it'll take the negative charge particles and draw the negative particles down to the concrete and trap them into the floor. So that way, you know, when you think about a paint booth is basically like a clean room. You want to take all the contaminants that's in there so that way you don't have airborne particles floating around when you're doing your paint. So you can kick on your booth. When you kick on your booth, it's not going to build up the dirt particles and make them float around into the booth. It traps it all to the floor where we want them to be. Basically what this is doing is it's giving the ability to the shops to have a lot less time spent detailing at the end of the job. So basically you got a very good cost savings in labor time with the shops out there. Spray mask. Spray mask, what this is, and I know a lot of you have seen a lot of spray masks out there over time, and some of the issues some of the shops see with spray masks, they're a little reluctant to get back into it because what they've seen is they'll see runs on the side of the car, very hard for it to wash off the car. If it got on the plastic, it would tend to want to adhere to the plastic, and harder to get off that plastic. This here is a 3rd generation spray mask. The nice thing about this is it's got a higher build to it, so when you go to spray it on the car, you don't get runs on it. It gives you a thick application and gives a protection to the car. You spray it over top of the windows. It gives you a clear build on the windows so you can drive the car around the shop and still see out of it. You can spray it on the wheels, spray it into on the tires, and it'll also lock down the brake dust inside the wheels too. Now the nice thing about it is there's no tack to it. You don't have a tacky, slimy feel. You can tape on top of it, and when you go to wash it off, you hose it one time and the water would just melt it right off the car. So it cleans right off it very easily. When you use a combination, when you think about it, a combination in a booth or in a shop, use a combination of the spray mask, the particle control, and the booth coating. And what you've done is you've created a clean room in there, so that way when you're doing your paint jobs, you now have a very clean job when you're done. So what that means is you got a lot less time in detailing. So that means a faster turnaround and a much neater job. You know, what we're here is what we'd like you to do is we'd like you to contact your MEDCO salespeople. You know, ask them about the product, and if you're looking for information, and would like to have a question for me or Bill, contact them, and we'd be glad to get back and work with you as far as promoting this product out to the shops. Mark, do you have anything?
I have just a couple of questions that I think might be out there. You mentioned on the liquid mask that you can just hose it off. Does it take any, agitation that you have to be scrubbed off, or it can merely be hosed off?
It can be hosed right off. You don't have to scrub it off like the old systems used to be. It literally will just melt right off.
And with that, are there concerns or issues with the material going down the drain, or as long as they have a three-step trap, they're okay, or is it each? What's the
yes, it meets all the standards. It can be washed down into the drains also. It's environmentally friendly, yes.
Okay. Okay. And then back on the corrosion protection items, typically you will see, for instance, your aerosol kit at every workstation out in the repair process of the shop. Are these items individually billable per job, or is it absorbed in the material cost of the RO?
Typically, I mean, today what the insurance companies are doing is they're allowing corrosion protection built right into the job itself. So they do get back the amount of money, the money that they're putting into the jobs.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Like I said, this is a new offering from MEDCO, and we're very excited about this opportunity. We feel that the Like90 products will bring some very viable solutions to your body shops customers and help them maintain the quality and the excellence of work that they need to stay on their DRP programs and to, more importantly, give their customers the repair satisfaction that they're looking for. You will most likely see your local MEDCO representative in the next several weeks with Like90 representatives to stop by your store, present the product line individually. We've seen some very rapid success here, particularly up in the Northeast. I believe they've just in 2 days worth of calls managed to sell almost 50 of the aerosol kits. So we feel like this is going to be an excellent opportunity for MEDCO and for you, and we're looking forward to some great success in 2013. Thank you very much. Please stay tuned for MEDCO University on January 22nd, which will be from PowerPro to talk about the new hook, which is a circuit integrity diagnostic machine, which is new to the market. And in February, we will bring new solutions and new products from 3M. And in March, one of our future MEDCO universities will be presented by Stata Spray Equipment on air management. So once again, thank you very much to Jeff and Bill, and more importantly, thank you to MEDCO customers for attending tonight's MEDCO University.